If you're anything like me and on your path to the Ascension timeline, to the New Earth timeline, stick around for this video. I'm going to be diving deep into why you are bound to 3D consciousness. So let's dive in. Hi, my name's Christina, and if you are new here, I help empower people through their spiritual journey and ascension journey and their healing journey. We heal in order to embody more Christ consciousness. So if you're somebody that wants to embody more Christed consciousness, ascend and open up yourself to the New Earth timeline, hit that subscribe button and the bell notification so you're notified of when new videos, because I share a video every single day all about healing, spirituality, ascension, and yeah, all that wonderful stuff. Firstly, let's dive into what 3D consciousness is, because we have to identify what I'm referring to here, particularly if this is a new concept to you, because we can then understand why we might be getting attached and stuck into 3D and blocking ourselves from opening up the new timeline and bringing the new earth in collectively. So I think we've all heard of the term consciousness, and it just means something has kind of awareness of itself, a consciousness, and we all are in lower or high vibrational states of consciousness. And there are different dimensions or different densities to do with different forms of consciousness. So the higher state of consciousness you are, the more awareness you are, it's because you are embodying more higher vibrational frequency of one of unconditional love. That is the key. If you are on your spiritual path and your ascension journey, you want to ascend, and so that means we have to embody more of the Christ consciousness, because the Christ consciousness is going to return. That's what that means. But let's go back into the 3D consciousness a minute. I got off a bit of a tangent then. So the 3D consciousness is low down. It's the third dimension. So we are in a world of separation. That means the 3D is about separateness, that I am separate from you, and it's the ego identities that tell us this is who I am, that's who you are, we are not the same, we are opposite, I am separate from you because you are black, I am white, you are Hispanic, I am British, you are Chinese, you have childhood trauma, you had a good upbringing, you have this, you have that. And this is an illusion of separation, when in fact we are one. We are one collective consciousness, and we are beginning to awaken to this idea that we are one, and that's when we will ascend into higher vibrational states of consciousness, when we reach a certain point of humanity when we all begin to waken up on a mass scale, and it's already taken place over the last 3 years. It has escalated, and now we are beginning to bring more of that timeline and higher frequency into the earth with assistance from our lovely galactic friends up there. So 3D is about being separate, being in duality, opposites, so yin and yang, dark and light, and this means we are kind of polar to each other, and that's what the 3D reality is about. And also what creates this is one of control, fear, manipulation. It's the capitalism. It's a wounded masculine society. So we are actually in quite low states of consciousness. We are unconscious most of the time. We are operating from unconscious habits, unconscious ego beliefs that are keeping us bound to 3D. So that is the first sign, the first thing that is keeping you bound to 3D is the ego, the illusion of the ego that keeps us in our limiting beliefs, because the 3D reality is one of fear rather than unconditional love in, say, for example, 5D, the 5D New Earth. So when we still attach to an old belief and believe what our ego is telling us, then we are blocking ourselves from spiritually growing and evolving in order to be on the ascension timeline. So this means we still have wounds to deal with. We have to deal with our ego triggers. We have to deal with our projections, things that we are suppressing. And that means doing the inner work. And when I say inner work, it's about addressing your childhood issues, addressing your daddy issues, addressing your attachments to things, why you have such anxious attachments, why do you have codependency? And seeing that the ego is just keeping you entrapped in these, and you have the keys to unlock that prison cell at any moment. It's always a choice to just simply let go of old patterns, old beliefs that are keeping you bound into the ego illusion of the 3D reality. So that's just the first one. I know it sounds like a lot, but trust me, it can be so simple and liberating when you begin to do that shadow work. Dive deep into your triggers. So the ascension journey is not for the faint-hearted. It's people that are taking the spiritual journey seriously and want to grow and evolve and embody more of the Christ consciousness, because we are the ones awake and we can begin to help and awaken others. But it's first about doing that inner work, because that's just going to keep you tied down to 3D when you have all these attachments. That's just an illusion of the mind. So the second thing that is keeping you attached to 3D consciousness is attachment to relationships. It's still a form of attachment. And that means when we are in a relationship with somebody, or we have friendships with people that are actually not serving us or for our highest good. And time again, our higher selves have been giving you signs and warnings. You've got to drop the attachment to the relationships if you want to take this ascension journey seriously. So that means letting go of relationships, particularly if you're in a 3D relationship and you're on your spiritual journey. And I know this can be really hard because we all have family members that are not awake. And I'm just going to give it to you now. No matter what you do, no matter what you say, you're not going to wake them up. They have to come to that decision on their own. And spiritual awakenings, unfortunately, they usually come at some kind of cost. Something drastically has to happen in order for the person, your family member, your loved one, to be shook to their core so much they question every single ounce of their life and the universe out there. And that's when they begin to wake up. They usually go through that dark night of the soul. So this means you can't do anything about it. People just have cognitive dissonance. They're so attached in their ego, and there's nothing we can do. We have to let them come to that conclusion on their own, because we can't control people, because that creates more resistance. And so this means we have to get ourselves out of relationships that are not in alignment with us. And sometimes we hold on to those relationships because we are codependent, maybe. We have fear of abandonment, so we don't want to leave them. And this is not me pitching to you, leave your partner, because I have a partner that is not spiritually awake, if that makes sense. That is not spiritually awake. Does that make sense? I don't know. But anyway, he's not awake like I am. And so we work through things. He knows how much I value my spirituality, the journey I am going on. I would kind of describe him more as woke rather than awake. He is aware of a lot of corruption in the world, like certain things like the royal family and how, the cults and all that. He's kind of aware of that, but he's always somebody, well, show me proof. Show me proof, like the masculine always likes, because it's their logical mind. And so we have to kind of work our way through these relationships. And if it really isn't in alignment and you know it and you want to take this journey seriously and untether yourself from 3D, let go. We've got to end the relationship. And I've let go of old friendships that are not in alignment, and I manifested and reached out to the universe, bring me in more high vibrational friends, because that was my exact words. And now I have a really close friend. I'm going to be reaching out more for a community, because that's what I want to start to build, is community that of people that are taking this seriously, that want to do the work and really take spirituality seriously and embody the wisdom of all the ascended masters, and really just be at peace with themselves and come home back to themselves, because that's what it is. All of this is coming back home to yourself. And when you don't realize your power, it keeps you tied to 3D. That can be a little bonus one. We are powerful, eternal, spiritual beings, and we have all the answers that we ever need within us. And when we are seeking external things to make us whole and complete, because our soul just wants to feel whole and complete with Source and God again, you just want to kind of go home. So we are seeking these things rather than going within and knowing everything we need is within. God is within here. Every ascended master is within here. You are just as wise. Yes, we may live in a reality where we've got to go to work, got to do this, got to do that. But we have everything we need, and it's coming from here into here. And you hold the key to that. So the final thing that's actually keeping you bound to 3D consciousness is fear of letting go. And this kind of ties in everything that I've kind of been saying, and that's fear of letting go of like old timelines, fear of letting go of old beliefs, and just being in a fear consciousness. So those that be the elite, the cabal, what they try to do is dumb down, manipulate, control, and use fear-based tactics. There are systems in place that instill fear into humanity. Then it keeps us in a lower state vibration, because we're easier to control and we just do what they say. And this blocks us from elevating from higher states of consciousness. So if we are in fear, we cannot allow any divine guidance to come through or allow ourselves to ascend into higher states of consciousness, because we are just blocking ourselves. So this just means ignoring the fear tactics a lot of the time. And I know it's really hard. I can be fearful and have anxiety about certain things. And a lot of the time I see so much fear mongering and on the internet, and it's too much information. We don't need to know all this information. Was on about, oh my God, AI, oh my God, this timeline, cashless society, new world order. Geez, just stop. Yes, we need to be aware of these things because we need to not let it happen. But we don't need to consume all this fear all the time, because even if you are awake and you're seeing that, you're getting consumed by fear rather than love. And if we want to bring in the new earth, open up that timeline. It can happen at any moment. We just have to make that choice collectively. That's what we want. And that means being in unconditional love rather than fear. So this means overcoming your fear of letting go of old identities, letting go of old beliefs, wounds, doing that work, and trying as best as we can to not let the fear override us. Let me know in the comments below what you believe is actually keeping you bound to 3D consciousness. And don't forget, check this video out next, where I talk about how you can jump timelines from 3D to 5D. So with that being said, I will see you on the next video. Much love.